Hi everybody, welcome to Petra's Happy Place. Today my happy place is even happier because I have my baby with me. Isn't she adorable? I love her. I don't know if she's going to stay with me or if she's going to want to get down. But I'm coming to you from my yarn room today. How is everybody doing? It has been a little bit. I wanted to give you a quick, because you guys are my friends. Y'all have been with me through the highs and the lows of the last 5 years plus. And there's just so much that's going on right now. And I thought maybe I'd take a few minutes to start this episode. I'm going to title it Episode 1. How creative. But anyway, just a quick life update. It's been about a month now, and I have been unemployed. So it has been don't worry, don't get upset, it's all good, but just the whole constant trying to find a job, that kind of thing is just really getting to me. I do have some bad days where I get a little discouraged, and when I do get discouraged, I pop on and have a chance to chat with you guys, and I feel much better. So there, that'll work, right? But this time has given me so much time to crochet, and I have been doing a lot of crocheting. So let me recap the last couple weeks. It might have been even 3 or 4 weeks. I can't remember, and I do apologize. But some of the things that I had talked about previously was having certain projects on the go all the time, okay? Like having more than one whip at a time, okay? One of those whips was going to be a larger project. One of them was going to be a wearable. I was going to use up stash yarn, and that could have been for any of these other projects, okay? I would have a socks. I would be making a pair of socks, and that's crocheting socks, not knitting, thank you very much. Okay, and then I was going to have a Tunisian project on the go, and then also a knitting project. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have finally succumbed to the knitting world. I had decided and said, no, I'm not going to do that, but yeah, I did it. But it's not crazy. Crochet is my love. Tunisian is my favorite love, then crochet, and then knitting. So, what I have now, some of the projects were those that I had already been working on before, but I want to catch up on some of the projects that I finished that I would have shown you before, okay? Or some projects that I had worked on before. So, one of them was a project where I was using Karen's Skinny Cakes, and it was teals and purples, different color purples and different color teals, and it was going to become like a campfire cardi, a hexie cardi. And I got about halfway to 2/3 into the first side, and I decided I'm done. This project, I have loved the yarn for so many years. I had like 3 or 4 big cakes of it in my stash, and I said, I'm done with it. I'm not going to use it anymore. I'm just done. So there was a lady in our crochet group, and I'll tell you about that in a second. And she is really into doing those for her daughter and her granddaughter. So I asked her, I said, do you want it? She goes, yep. I'll take it. So she's going to just finish up a campfire cardi for somebody else, and she's going to enjoy the yarn, and I'm so happy that she's going to enjoy it. Okay, so talking about the crochet group. Yeah, crochet group. What we've started in that group, we meet on Mondays, and I think they're going to continue to meet on Mondays, even if I get a job where I'm not working on, or I am working on Mondays, and they'll still meet, I believe, and then we'll just pick a different day so I can join in the group, because I'm one of the founders of the group, so they want to make sure that I'm included. But one of the things that we decided to do a couple weeks back was to have a stitch of the week, just like Creative Grandma had, right? So, in fact, we're starting with her first week, then going to second week, and we're doing those now. And so what we would do is one of the ladies would print out her pattern, and the pattern for that particular stitch, and then I would locate the tutorial, and then we'd print it out and give everything to the ladies on Monday. And then for that week, they can use that stitch or just practice it there in during our time together, and yeah, learn new stitches. And if they wanted to do something with it later on, they could. If they did their little swatch thing or whatever they have, and they were done with it, then that's fine too. It all worked out. So I wanted to show you. This sounds kind of silly, but I've just had a leftover cake of baby cakes, and all I wanted to do was just use this to do my stitches of the week. So this first week, you can see with the shells, that was called the corn on the cob, because it looked like a corn on a cob. And then now I can't remember the name of this other one, and I don't have my paper by me, but this is week 2. So for these 1, 2, 3 rows, this little piece here, basically it's single crochet all the way across, and then the next row you do a single crochet and I want to say single crochet, yeah, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. I'm thinking that's what it is. It looks like a double crochet. And then on the next row, you do single crochet. So it gives you that little teeny tiny puff stitch right there. It looks a little bit three-dimensional. So that's what last week's was. And one of these days I'll learn the names that Creative Grandma has given to each one of these stitches, and I can, like, I've got my own copies of the stitch, so I'm going to start putting together a notebook with all those stitches in it, and then I'll be putting it up there on my shelf with the rest of the books. Okay, so that's that. And if you want me to update you on the stitch that we're doing that week, leave that in the comment section. I'd like to know, and then I'll just make sure I have this ready when I film. Okay? All right. So there's that. Now, going back to the list of the whips that I have that I'm going to be working on. The first one was a large project, remember? I have been working on this. It's called the Crunch Stitch by Creative Grandma. And Cody, bless his heart, I love it when he gets so excited when he does this stitch. And I did that stitch with this little throw. So, pardon me. I'm going to fold it in half. It's so pretty. It's the latte cakes in the colorway, I know the coconut cream. So that is done. So last night I'm not going to finish up the last cake. I think it's a good size. She just wanted something this size, and I'm ready. I'm ready to be done with it. So all I have to do is sew and weave in the end, and I'm done with it. So don't ask me what my next large project is going to be. I'll figure that out in the near future. But that's one thing that I had completed, and I feel good about that. And it was for somebody else, even though it wasn't on a time crunch or anything like that. I was able to finish it, and I feel good about getting it done. Now, last time my wearable was, remember I had a top that was like tan on the bottom and a teal color on the top. It was a little summer top, a tank type shirt, and I had that finished, and I was working on that granny square hexie-cardi. Well, since I gave it away, I had to start another one, okay? And I even pointed out, I showed you guys the yarn that I had. It was this Summer Sesame in the colorway Mint. Okay, isn't those colors are so pretty. The colorway they give on here is just a color number 5237. But it is a lovely combination. It's cotton, acrylic, and nylon. And it was so lovely to work with. Now, it says it's a 4-weight medium, but this, and to use a 4.5, no, wait a minute. Yeah, 4.5 hook. I'm using where's my hook? I'll find it. I'm using a 4.5, but this is not a 4-weight yarn. This is a 2-weight, if that, if you can consider it a 2-weight. It might, in some circumstances, be a 1. I don't know, but I think it's a 2. Anyway, it's gorgeous, and now I had started this project, and I had worked it in a certain stitch. I had started off in a certain pattern. I didn't like it, and I started doing something else, and I still didn't like it, or it was too tight. Had to frog it out again. But this is, let me see here. There it is, folks. I'm done. You thought I was going to say, well, I've only gotten this much done. No, I've had a lot of time to crochet, remember? So I finished it. And now I do want to put on a little sleeve because this is too wide. I needed to bring the yoke down to a certain point, but I thought it was going to look too messy. I don't know if that's the right word. If I had taken the yoke down any further, because it would have gone past the breast line and it would have just looked funny. So I had added a couple more stitches to the sleeve here to make it fit comfortably, but that means I need to do a couple rounds of some stitches around here so you won't see that your bra strap, basically. But I am done with that, and you can see the pretty stitches on the top here. I would do 2 rows of double crochet, one of an X, and then 2 rows of double crochet and one of the X. So I did that throughout until I got to right underneath the breast. And for a certain section, which is basically from, let me see here, from right at, yeah, let's see here, right here, okay, I started doing just plain double crochet. I wanted to give it a little bit more density so that you wouldn't see through it as much. And then I continued on with that stitch pattern there. So there you go. Another one done. Yeah, just the sleeves. So I'll put this back in and I'll show it to you once I have the sleeves done. And that might be sometime this coming or next week. I'm not sure when I'll get to it because I have some other things that I wanted to start. Okay, so that's the wearable that I have, and that yarn is something that I've had in my stash for years now. So I'm so glad I'm using it. Okay, the next one is socks. Now, I haven't started on the socks yet. Let me put stuff in. Look, I have this one here. Do you guys remember stuff like that from the olden days? And I have another one in this colorway. And I have one in the living room and one in the den. So I always have something handy to work on. So socks. So I have not started them yet, but I have an issue. This is my trusty notes that I had made for my socks and all the stitch counts and everything. And to make it for me. Now that it is a pattern by Olga Poltova. I don't know if you can read her name up there. Olga Poltova. I did some alterations not to the pattern, but to the stitch counts to make it look like mine. Okay, or excuse me, to make it fit my foot. So I went into my stash, into my scrap pile, and I found 2 small balls of this yarn, and I caked them together, and I'm hoping that's enough. I'm hoping that's enough for the actual main body of the sock. And then I'm going to do the heel in this aqua color. And it doesn't look like they go together, but they do. I've put it together in a shawl before. So I'm hoping that I have enough. I might have to weigh it. Yeah, I might have to do that. I might have to weigh it. But the other thing I forgot to write down on this pattern is the hook size that I used. And so I have a whole slew of hooks, and I'm fairly certain I used one of these 4. No, wait a minute. Actually, I think I used one of these 3 here. And they're, I don't even know what name brand they are. They look like tulips, but I can't be sure. I got them at yarn stores. And one is a 3.5. Here's another 3.5. And this is a 3.75. So I'm not sure. Then, so these 2 are the same size. And then this is a little bit bigger. Now that I'm thinking of it, I'm pretty sure it was one of these 2. So that would be a 3.5 millimeter. So what I did was, I love the shape of these. how they're flat like this. They're like the soft touch more. But I don't like it because it's short like a clover. And so I found some other hooks that are, here is, yeah, this is one of my other hooks, this cheapie from Amazon hooks. That's a 3.5 millimeter. But you can see how much longer the handle is, so it'd be easier to hold. And then, of course, I had to find my furls in the 2 different sizes. So, let's see here. It looks like it's an E. So here's my E hook. So I could use this if I was doing it. So we'll see. I have to do a couple rounds of the sock to make sure that it's the right size. And then that'll be that. So I've got everything together in my little Ziploc bag. And it's going to be going into this little, oops, into here. Okay. The next thing I had on my list was the Tunisian project. And I found some yarn. Now, some of it is stash and some of it was new. I had two skeins of Vita Lana. Now, this is no longer available. This was from Knit Crate, okay? And so, let me tell you about it, though, because you might be able to find a similar fiber content somewhere else. It's 50 superwash merino, 30 linen, and 20 silk. So it has, the linen part has a lot of fibers on it. But, let me see. I'll hold it up for you to see. I'm not sure if you can see the fibers. Yeah, you can see some of the fibers on there. That's the linen portion of it. And then this is one of my newer purchases here. And it's got lots of greens. And I decided to pick out, there's a very light tealy, minty green, which is the color of this. And that's why I chose them to go together. This is going to be a shawl, a Tunisian shawl. But let me tell you about this yarn. I have to make sure I keep my hole in here. Okay. It is what's the name of the company? Round Mountain Fibers, hand dyed in Vermont, and it's the mammalogy, so like mammalogy collection, and the color is called manatee. Okay, so it is, let me get this other one out here. I'm trying to hold this hole open so I can still stick this back in the middle here. It is dyed, like I said, dyed in Vermont, and it is 100% superwash merino wool. Okay, so let me put this together. And I remember when I went to, this was from the Pearl Yarn Crawl up in southern Indiana, and when I went there, I found a green that I thought went with this. And when I brought it home and got it caked up, it did not match. It did not match at all. That's why I had to find this other one. So I found a, having hooks randomly placed, I have to keep everything together. I found online on YouTube. Oh, and I did not bring the name of the pattern or the YouTube channel. It's a Swedish lady that does it. I don't know if she's from Sweden. I should say Scandinavian. And JJ Design Co. is the name of, is the where this pattern is from. But it's going to be an asymmetrical shawl, and it's using this interesting way of I don't know how to explain it. This side is supposed to stay straight, okay, and this one's going to come around. It's going to be like a boomerang shawl. And I've torn this out and done this part several times. Trying to get the pattern, because it's if you're not familiar with Tunisian, you always stay on the same side. So you're never turning your work. It's always looking at you. And to me, I don't know if I like the look of these, the ends of these rows. Do you see how they're just like really loose? So I don't know if I like that look or not. I'm going to keep going with it. I'm going to go do a certain amount, and then I'm going to change over to the multicolor, and then I'm going to change over to this one again. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that works up. If it continues and it's the same all the way, you know, the rest of the shawl, then I guess it'll be okay. But if it's just randomly big stitches, I might have to frog it out and do a different pattern. I do have another pattern in mind by Tony Lipsy, but she actually uses a 4-weight yarn, and it would go a whole lot faster, obviously, than a fingering weight yarn. But I wanted to use some of this yarn. So, okay, that's the Tunisian project. Now, for my knitting, I still have this on my hook, and I was just kind of playing around with stitches using some cotton yarn. I just was playing around. It looks okay from on the right side, but on the back side it looks awful. It looks really bad. I could tell I did some stitches wrong, and it just didn't turn out like I wanted it to. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to do a couple more rows, and then I'm going to learn how to fasten off, you know, bind off, and then I'm just going to use it as a dishcloth, or maybe even like a face cloth or something like that. It's really soft. I really like it a lot. So that's not the only one I've got on my not the only one I'm doing for knitting. Okay, let me show you this other one. I had some stash, and it is, I don't even remember what it is. I have no idea. It's just some gray acrylic yarn that I've caked up because it was a project I think I had frogged or something. And what I decided to do was, I don't even know if this is the right size needle for them, but it's a 9 US, which I have no idea what size that is. It just says 9 US. And I have this book, the Knit Stitch, and yeah, 50 knit and purl patterns. I've told you all about this before. And I wanted to do something different, you know, try to do something that's a little bit more complicated. But I thought, no, I need to really hone in the skills that I need. I've been watching a lot of knitting videos, and you know, they're just stitch patterns. And so I thought, well, no, I don't want to do that right now. I really want to start small. So I'll find a 2-row repeat, and then I'll find one later on for a 4-row repeat, and then 6-row, you know, and gradually get a little bit more complicated, or even do some of the videos. But what I've decided to do is I found a 2-row repeat called the garter ribbing. Let me see, the garter ribbing, and I just think it looks interesting. And what I thought I would do is make a I could make a cowl. I think that would look nice. I could make a cowl. It tells me, let's see here, was that the one I was going to do? Yeah, that was the one I was going to do. Okay, and it says multiple of 4 plus 2. So as long as I have that width, however I want it, I have enough yarn. And then what I'll do is I'll just make a cowl with different stitch counts. That would be kind of fun, right? Just a small project that I could still use. It's very simple, and all I have to do would be just sew it together at the ends, right? So I look forward to starting that. And if anybody can help me out, this is a 4-weight yarn. What size needles do I need to use? I have a variety of sizes in the straight needles, so you can just let me know in the comments section below, okay? And I think that's it. So I finished 2 things. Well, one is almost finished, but I finished 2 things. So I'll need to find another wearable to make, and I don't count. A wearable is either a cardigan, a sweater, a tank, a tee, something like that. Something that I can put on and wear during the day, not an accessory. Not like a scarf or a cowl or something like that. All right, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, whenever it is you watch this video. Lila wants to say hello again. One more time, she wants to say goodbye. It started raining and thundering, and I don't know if you can tell, but she is shaking like a leaf. She does not like thunder and lightning and rain. I was watching something on YouTube where a gal was inside of her RV, and it was raining, and just the sound of the rain on the computer, she was shaking like a leaf. She was so scared. Oh, she doesn't like when I make fun of her either. So, okay, you guys, I hope you have a blessed one. Remember to leave any of the comments, suggestions, questions in the comment section below, and I would love to hear from you. You have a good one. Bye-bye now.